Good morning, and thank you for tuning in to KSU News Now. I'm Juan Rodriguez.
And I'm Ashley Correo. And in today's news,
Kennesaw State University welcomes a new president. The Board of Regents appointed Dr. Pamela Wynn as KSU's new president Tuesday morning. She previously served as provost at the University of Georgia. Her academic background is in communication studies. Dr. Wynn is KSU's fourth president in the last 2 years. The University System of Georgia Chancellor Steve Wrigley says Dr. Wynn has experience and understanding of how to run a large university and is committed to student success.
students, faculty, and staff at Kennesaw State University suddenly found themselves without internet earlier this week. Both the Kennesaw and Marietta campuses were offline.
Wires apparently were cut, but we were without internet sometime around noon. As admins, we have several systems we get into, and internet is required for all of them. So we pretty much could not access anything.
On Monday morning, contractors working on the KSU campus mistakenly cut the campus network fiber, disabling all internet and network connections for both campuses. Summer classes were interrupted for nearly 15,000 students who are enrolled this semester. Many took to Twitter to demand answers from the school's emergency management account. Most students were worried about missing their midterm deadlines, and some students just gave up after a few hours of failed attempts.
So I was in the student center yesterday on my laptop trying to do my reading for my history class this morning, and this D2L went down. I couldn't do any of it, so I'm a little bit behind. I think it was out a few hours. I'm not really sure. I gave up trying after a while.
The severed fiber was finally fixed around 2 o'clock Tuesday morning, restoring all network services after 15 hours.
Suicide is back in the public eye following the recent deaths of two high-profile celebrities. Today, we are talking to a mental health professional about mental health awareness and possible signs of depression. KSU News reporter Shine Hall has more on the story.
Kennesaw State University offers a multitude of programs to not only ensure the health and wellness of the students, but their mental health as well. Associate Professor in Psychology Tim Martin has more about mental health.
A mental health issue only becomes an issue when it becomes debilitating to that person who is experiencing the issue, or it causes them to become a danger to themselves or others. But given that, once that happens, it's important that we identify the causes of those states, preferably with a scientific approach.
Professor Martin also states how signs of depression can lead to suicide.
Of appetite or a change in eating, so it could be the change could be you eat more or you eat less, but just a change in your regular eating habits, loss of interest in activities that used to be reinforcing for you, feelings of negative affect, so a negative feeling that things aren't good, feelings of hopelessness, helplessness, there's things are never going to get better and there's nothing I can do about it. Those are all sort of signs of depression.
Professor Martin also states how the media could do a better job in covering suicides on air.
Media should be able to cover it, but I think responsible coverage would probably de-emphasize or even not mention the reason for the death. So, for example, you take Anthony Bourdain and his suicide. Just from the perspective of mental health, it would be best if people just knew that he died, not how he died. Now, I'm not saying that you should make a law saying you can't report how he died. And of course, in the age of the internet, people are going to be able to go online and figure out how he died, but most people wouldn't go to the trouble.
Now back to you, Juan.
If you or anyone you know is struggling with any kind of mental health issues, please call 1-800-273-8255.
Due to heavy rainfalls, officials recently released the Buford Dam, causing an overflow of the Chattahoochee River and creating dangerous conditions. Here's Shelby Hoagland with an update on the dangers of the river and when the water will be safe again.
Here at Island Ford on the Chattahoochee River, fast currents and high E. coli levels have made this river unsafe for use.
Heavy rains from Hurricane Alberto have overwhelmed rivers and lakes of North Georgia. This has left Lake Lanier 2 feet above full pool elevation of 1,071 feet. The Buford Dam began releasing water on May 30th and has released water 24 hours a day for the past 2 weeks. causing high water levels and fast currents. These currents can be up to 6,000 cubic feet per second and are unsafe for both swimmers and boaters.
The bacteria counts, although they're okay today, they have been high within the past week and a half. So with the heavy flow that we're getting and with the rainfall, any wash off coming from construction sites to lawn fertilizers to human waste and pet waste, that's all flowing into the river.
These high bacteria levels can be especially harmful to the elderly and young children. State rangers emphasize that it's really not safe to go into the Chattahoochee. This has even caused some businesses to close.
We did actually ask our concessioners along the Chattahoochee River to close down business for now until conditions improve.
Water releases are scheduled to be reduced during the weekends within the next few weeks. Anyone wishing to use the river can visit waterdata.usgs.gov for current river conditions. From Sandy Springs, Shelby Hoagland, KSU News Now.
Cobb County residents may soon find themselves with fewer options for recreational fun. Cobb County faces a $30 million deficit. 11 parks, swimming pools, and recreational centers could be closing. These facilities account for 15% of all Cobb recreation services. The effort looks to save over $3 million. Longtime park goer Stephanie Alexander is disappointed at the potential closing.
And when we got our kids, we just bring them up here. And it's just a good meeting place. It's just something that is, and I've been living here my entire life, and this park has always been here.
The cuts could lead to the closing of all operations from sports leagues to swimming lessons at each location, and the elimination of 26 full-time and 81 part-time employees. The county will either have to raise taxes or cut services in order to close the budget gap.
Our correspondents have immersed themselves in Russian culture for 5 days and have discovered helpful hints for tourists traveling throughout the country. KSU's Moscow correspondent Virginia Wyckoff has more on the story.
Dobre utro! Good morning and welcome to Moscow. There are aspects to life here in Russia that are very similar to home, but it has taken us less than 48 hours to realize there are many different things too. There are multiple things you need to know during your stay, so I've created a list of do's, don'ts, and differences if your path ever leads you to Moscow. As an American in Russia, do have your passport in your possession at all times. Unlike home, police don't need probable cause to check your things. Always have your passport on you in case an officer asks for your documentation. Do be aware of your surroundings. It is important to understand that pickpocketing is very prevalent, so make sure all of your bags are secure. Otherwise, you could become an easy target to this common street crime. While there are many things to look out for, there are also a lot of things you don't want to do. For example, wearing shorts. In Russia, only children wear shorts. Long pants show that you're an adult and you'll be treated with respect. Also, don't talk loudly in public. Russians are very soft-spoken and direct. Lastly, it's uncommon to smile at people as they walk by, so don't be offended if they don't smile back. There are also aspects to life here in Russia that are just flat out different. In Russia, when shopping anywhere, you must go in with the expectation that you will have to pay for your bags. Another difference lies with their transportation. While in America, we often drive everywhere we go, Russian citizens prefer to walk, and they walk fast, which explains why everyone here is in really good shape. But if something is too far away, more often than not, they will use public transportation. While there is so much left to see and so much left to experience here in Moscow, we've only scratched the surface of this very unique culture. Coming to you from Moscow, Russia, this is Virginia Wyckoff, KSU News Now.
Georgia is no stranger to the Major League Baseball draft, with many players being drafted each year. KSU News reporter Lauren Hoffman has more on the players and the programs that help them succeed.
Each year, dreams become reality as top baseball players from around the world are drafted. Georgia is home to some of the top talent out there, especially here in Cobb County. Where does all of that start? Programs like Smart Tens Training are paving the way for these young athletes. Smart Tens Training is a facility that specializes in baseball player development.
So my personal story is basically how I, started all of this. I got released. It was gut-wrenching. In 1 month, I gained over 30 pounds. My eating habits, my basically energy to live and do what I love was taken from me. So for me, our number one goal is being stable within the community, giving back and impacting kids' lives. I think throughout this whole process, if we have perspective and we keep the Lord number one, is that we end up finding more joy in the game.
Kennesaw State graduates A.J. Moore and Grant Williams are just two examples of the players who have found that joy and are taking it to the next level. Both men were drafted in the 10th round of the MLB draft. Moore was the 289th pick by the Cincinnati Reds, followed by Williams as the 310th pick by the Boston Red Sox. This is the 11th straight year that Kennesaw State baseball has had at least one player drafted. We'll see what's in store for them next year. This has been Lauren Hoffman for KSU News Now.
The smallest gestures can make the biggest differences. One Ackworth resident is helping low-income mothers with a diaper drive. The cost of the diapers is overwhelming, and 1 out of 3 mothers can't afford them. So one local teacher is taking charge and making a difference. Sprayberry High School teacher and new mom, Natasha Beeman, is holding a diaper drive. She is teaming up with Helping Mamas Incorporated and is accepting diaper donations on her very own front porch. The donations are then given to low-income mothers who can't afford them, since government funding such as WIC and SNAP do not cover these items. Beeman has received over 1,000 diapers and 1,000 baby wipes.
A local church hosted Atlanta's largest fashion show this past weekend. There were over 15 different designers, including American Threads, Christina Yoder, and Altered State. Dozens of hair and makeup artists were also involved in the show. On Friday, the Infinite Energy Center in Gwinnett was full of fashion experts and designers alike. Lauren Evans, creative director of the BU Fashion Show, had been preparing for weeks.
This is our first ever BU fashion show happening tonight. I'm so excited. Everyone's done such an amazing job. They're getting their hair and makeup done at the moment. They're gonna rock the runway.
It's been going for years in Australia. This is the first time in ATL. We're so excited.
The BU team is already preparing for next year's fashion show.
This has been Ashley Correo
And Juan Rodriguez, reporting from KSU News Now. Until next time.